The bass drum vibrated through Mark's chest. He took another sip of his beer, the rhythmic pulse of the music drowning out the week's worries. It was Friday night, and the work week was a distant memory. Mark scanned the crowd, a sea of faces moving to the beat. He enjoyed these nights out, a chance to unwind and maybe, just maybe, meet someone interesting. His gaze snagged on two women seated at the bar. They radiated an effortless elegance, their laughter ringing like wind chimes on a summer night. One had hair like spun moonlight, the other a cascade of ebony. Their eyes, when they met his, held a depth that sparked a flicker of intrigue in Mark. He felt a pull, an unexplainable urge to meet them. Gathering his courage, he walked over. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, his voice almost lost in the throbbing music. The women exchanged a glance, a silent message passing between them. "Not at all," the moon-haired woman replied, her voice like the tinkling of a distant piano. "We're always happy to meet someone new." Mark spent the next hour caught in their orbit. Their names were Lyra and Vega, and their laughter came easily, their conversations sparkling with wit and intelligence. He learned Lyra was an artist, her words painting vivid pictures of distant galaxies. Vega was a musician, her compositions inspired by the symphony of the cosmos. Mark found himself captivated, drawn in by their ethereal beauty and the fascinating glimpses they offered of a world beyond his own. Time seemed to melt away as they talked. The club around them faded into a blur, the music a distant hum compared to the captivating melody of their conversation. Mark felt a connection with these women he couldn't quite explain. It was as if they spoke a language that resonated deep within his soul, a language of stardust and distant galaxies. "Tell us about yourself, Mark," Vega prompted, her eyes sparkling like distant nebulae holding his gaze. "What makes your heart sing?" Mark hesitated, surprised by the question. No one had ever asked him that before. He found himself opening up to them, sharing his dreams of exploration, his fascination with the vastness of space, his longing to understand the secrets hidden among the stars. He told them about his childhood spent gazing up at the night sky, his telescope a portal to a universe filled with endless possibilities. Lyra's fingers, cool and smooth as polished marble, brushed against his arm. "We sense a kindred spirit in you, Mark," she murmured, her voice a low melodic hum. A thirst for knowledge, a longing to explore beyond the familiar. Mark's pulse quickened. There was something about these women, something alluring and mysterious, that both excited and unsettled him. He couldn't put his finger on it, but he sensed there was more to them than met the eye. He pushed the thought aside, attributing it to the potent cocktails and the intoxicating aura that surrounded them. Vega leaned closer, her breath a whisper against his ear. "Would you like to see something incredible, Mark? Something beyond your wildest dreams?" Mark's heart pounded in his chest. Vega's question hung in the air, charged with an energy that sent shivers down his spine. He looked from her to Lyra, their faces illuminated by the flashing lights of the dance floor. Their eyes, filled with an unearthly light, seemed to pierce through him, seeing into the depths of his soul. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. He knew he should be cautious, that he should walk away while he still had the chance. But curiosity, a thirst for adventure that had always simmered within him, urged him forward. Lyra smiled, a slow, enigmatic curve of her lips. "We're not from around here, Mark," she said, her voice barely audible above the pulsating music. "We're from a place far beyond your world, a place of wonder and advanced technology." Mark's mind reeled. He knew he'd had too much to drink, that his imagination was running wild. "What are you saying?" he asked, his voice laced with disbelief. Vega took his hand, her touch sending a jolt of electricity through his arm. "We're offering you a chance to see it for yourself, Mark," she said, her eyes locking onto his. "A chance to explore the cosmos, to experience wonders beyond your wildest dreams." Mark stared at them, his heart pounding in his chest. Was this real? Were these women truly offering him a chance to journey to another world? His rational mind screamed at him to run, to dismiss this as some elaborate prank, but another part of him, the part that yearned for adventure, that longed to explore the mysteries of the universe, urged him to accept. Mark stood frozen, caught between disbelief and a powerful surge of exhilaration. His mind raced, trying to process Lyra's words. They weren't from Earth, it sounded absurd, like something out of a science fiction movie. And yet, their ethereal beauty, their captivating aura, whispered of a truth beyond his comprehension. "But how?" he stammered, his voice barely a whisper. "Is that even possible?" Lyra smiled, her eyes twinkling with amusement. "With technology beyond your understanding, Mark," she said, her voice a soothing melody that calmed the storm raging within him. "We can travel between the stars, bridging the unimaginable distances." Vega squeezed his hand gently. "We understand your skepticism," she said, her voice filled with understanding, "but we assure you this is no dream. We offer you a chance to expand your horizons, to experience the universe in a way you never thought possible." The decision weighed heavily on Mark. He thought of his life on Earth, his job, his friends, his family. It all seemed so ordinary, so mundane, compared to the extraordinary adventure these women were offering. He thought of his childhood dreams, his yearning to explore the cosmos, to unravel the mysteries of the universe. This was his chance, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reach for the stars. "All right," he whispered, his voice hoarse with emotion. "I'll go with you." The decision was made. Mark, now filled with a mix of anticipation and excitement, boarded the sleek starbound vessel with Lyra and Vega. The ship hummed with energy, and as it ascended into the cosmos, Earth became a distant blue marble, fading away into the vastness of space. Their journey through the stars was nothing short of breathtaking. They visited vibrant alien worlds, each more wondrous than the last. Exotic landscapes stretched out before them, filled with flora and fauna beyond Mark's wildest imagination. Every day was an adventure, every moment a discovery. They savored the finest cosmic delicacies, foods and drinks that tantalized the senses in ways earthly cuisine never could. Meals were a celebration, a fusion of flavors and textures that spoke of civilizations light years apart. Mark delved into the depths of advanced AI, guided by Lyra and Vega. He learned to communicate with sentient machines, to harness their power for creation and innovation. The knowledge he gained was profound, a leap beyond Earth's current technological understanding. After what felt like both an eternity and a fleeting moment, their journey brought them back to Earth. Mark returned, not as the man who had left, but as a pioneer, enriched with experiences and technology that could transform his world. He stood once more on familiar ground, but with a newfound perspective and a wealth of knowledge. His heart swelled with gratitude as he looked to the stars, knowing that the universe held endless possibilities, and he had just begun to explore them. Two alien women loved him a lot, and they had a great time together. Before they brought him back to Earth, they told him, "Listen, we need to make sure we stay in touch and see each other once a week." They gave him a device, something like a smartphone, but it worked with video only. They said, "Call us once a week and we will come pick you up in our spaceship to have a great time in space." Once he arrived back on Earth, he was able to do amazing things with technology. This is where all the technology he had came from. There was nothing he couldn't do with a computer, internet, and AI. Every weekend he reached out to them and went out with them. Sometimes they went out on Earth, and sometimes they went out on their planet. One day, I took the device they gave me and called them. When I think about it, I was shocked because I always believed that alien people were green or gray. But they said, "No, there are millions and millions of aliens that look just like humans. As a matter of fact, there are so many of them on Earth on a daily basis, walking on the streets, and nobody will ever know because they look exactly like humans. The same races you have on Earth, we have in space." I told them, "I can't wait to see you both again in space this weekend. You both take care. Bye."